So Peter, welcome to the University of Manchester. How are you enjoying retirement, first of all?
It's not really retirement. I've left the police force, in a way retired from that, but immediately started as Chief Executive of a charity, and at the same time we feel really privileged to have been offered the Honorary Professor position here at the School of Law. So actually I'm finding it very exciting, but also liberating in a way that I've got a lot more freedom to get into different areas and to not perhaps be as constrained as I was as a Chief Constable.
Freedom perhaps in terms of speaking your mind?
Speaking mind on serious issues, absolutely. Not in any way getting involved in politics, not being a grumpy old Chief Constable, telling people now what to do, but more about hopefully being able to use that just bit of distance from the police service, that wider view of the world, and hopefully the chance to do some thinking and research to help inform some of the debate about policing and criminal justice issues.
You've been involved in policing in the North West for a good while now, Cheshire of course and Greater Manchester. What will you miss most about it, do you think?
Gosh, it's really about the people. It is a fascinating job being a Chief Constable. You're dealing with the whole range of very complex social problems under a constant spotlight of scrutiny, media scrutiny, political scrutiny, public scrutiny. So that is endlessly fascinating and challenging, but at the same time it is a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure. It does affect your family life. So while I found it totally enjoyable all the way through, obviously some high spots, some low spots, but also I feel I've done my bit, and I'm glad in a way to be free of it.
Are you glad in a way to be leaving now when we hear so much about cuts and the latest comprehensive spending review is likely to bring in even more? Is it a good time to be leaving, do you think?
I don't think so, no, actually. I'm really in a way positive, because I think the big advantage we've got here in Greater Manchester is the Devolution agreement, is the chance to completely rethink the way that public services are delivered, to rethink the way we engage with the public, and come up with a very different way of dealing with that. Austerity is hard, the cuts have been hard, but as I'll talk about, it can in a way of itself allow you to think different innovative thoughts, because there's no longer the luxury of just throwing a load of money at a problem. And I found that actually very exciting and very stimulating. And the Devolution agreement, which means we're no longer driven by separate ministries in Whitehall, but we've got the ability to put things together which work in Greater Manchester and build on a lot of the good relationships we've got. Then it enables really hopefully the public sector to be world leading in the way that clearly other areas like academic research, graphene, the football are world leaders. We want to try and make the public service world leaders.
Tell us a little bit more about the role here at the university. What do you imagine it's going to entail, or what do you hope it's going to entail?
I hope it gives me the chance to get into some deeper issues, really. One of the things as a Chief Constable, it's absolutely relentless. You end up being able to give sound bites about almost anything in the world, turn up at events and just talk off the top of your head, really. So what I'm looking forward to is the chance to get into some issues in depth. And in general, it's one of the weaknesses of policing, that we tend to be very good at reacting, but not very good, really, on the whole, about research, about consideration, about reflection, and that's one of the important new roles for the College of Policing. So I hope, in the university, being able to, get that time to get into some issues which particularly interest me, but also be able to make that link in a way between, the public service out there doing the job, and the great people working in the university and the student body as well. So we sort of strengthen that link, really. So that, in a way that the public service can benefit from the huge experience and reputation of the University of Manchester, but at the same time the University of Manchester can benefit from, the challenge to work with those agencies in a very new agenda, but also on some of the most complex social problems and social issues challenging the country at the moment.
You've clearly thought long and hard about this. Tell us a bit about how the move has come about, that you've joined the university. Is it something you've been angling and working towards, or is it something that's been quite serendipitous?
It started really from when I came to Greater Manchester. I'd always had a huge interest in particularly race and diversity issues. And one of the difficult issues there is about the way the discipline system operates, the complaint system, and what we knew was disproportionality in the number of ethnic minority officers that was subject to complaints. And through that I made a link with the School of Law, and particularly now my good friend Graham Smith, and he did a research project with us, which I thought was pretty groundbreaking. And really Graham and I have just continued that conversation. It's a complex issue, and really from that and some of the discussions we've had, he very kindly put me forward. and been able to then draw in some other links I've had with the university, but hopefully in more of an atmosphere I can slow down a bit and get a chance, as I say, to use some of the university facilities, but particularly the benefit of the thinking and research here.
I know we're all looking forward to seeing you here, but you've also got another strand to your retirement, which is the charity side. And tell us a bit about the work you've got planned there.
Yeah, I'm chief executive of a charity called Retrak, which works with street children in Africa. I've been working with them on a volunteer basis for that last 5 years. Every year we take a team out to Ethiopia and Uganda from Greater Manchester Police and the Fire Service to work on that. And again, that's got me really interested in the whole issue about street children. It's one of the key issues in the developing world. We have obviously our own issues with vulnerable children here in Manchester as well. So it's given me the great opportunity to to start thinking about that more deeply. But also it's a completely new field. Running a charity is very different from running a police force. The funding is not so secure, even if the funding in policing is going down. It's working with different donors. It's understanding the whole politics and culture of Africa. So it is, I've got to say, I'm really excited about the challenge. It feels really worthwhile. And again, there's some opportunity to bring some of our experience we've had here in Greater Manchester, having made a lot of mistakes along the way, to actually take that to some colleagues in Africa and say, well, we've made a lot of mistakes, we can hopefully help you not make the same mistakes.
Is this perhaps an illustration of what Sir Peter Fahy is all about? You're hardly putting your feet up, are you?
No, I'm not a great, I do think relaxation is overrated. I do want to have a slightly better work-life balance than I've had up to now. But no, I do ultimately find the world a fascinating place. Whenever a bus passes, I want to get on it and try and deal with the issue. So I think that again is one of the exciting things about being in Greater Manchester. It is the profile, it's the diversity, it's some of the big issues, it's the fact that so many people are looking in on us that makes it such a wonderful place to work in.